black baseball cap and a green sweatshirt. Both of these things were good for climbing. The cap helped keep flies out of your eyes, or falling bits of twig and bark dust. Green clothing stopped too many leaf stains from showing, and that meant parents wouldn't always spot how filthy you were when you went home. But Nottingham was also wearing cargo shorts, and that was a big mistake. His shins and ankles could get ripped to shreds by thorns and jagged branches. Hungry insects could chow down like he was KFC. I wished I could see what kind of trainers he had on.
"I bet you he makes it,"
Marvin said.
"All the way up."
Harvey nodded. Mish looked at me to see if I agreed. "He's the wrong side of the trunk," I said to Mish, but I spoke loudly so Zoe and the twins would hear too. "If he was on the other side of the trunk, he could go for better branches." I pointed to show where I meant. "See there? The branches on this side are too tight to climb in between." I was the youngest climber ever to make it to the top of Twisted Sister. I'd done it last summer when I was 14, but I'd fallen 7 times before I made it. Could New Kid Nottingham really reach the top in one go? I hoped he fell. Chapter 2. I'd read this book once, which said corkscrew willows were Chinese trees. So how the hell one had ended up in our park in our village was anyone's guess. They were also sometimes called tortured willows because their branches looked like they were twisted up in agony. Without its leaves in winter, Twisted Sister looked like it was screaming. But in summer, it was a lush green explosion. I'd also read that they should only grow as high as 10 or 12 metres. Twisted Sister clearly didn't give a damn about what a book said, as it stabbed the sky at 16 metres tall. There were 2 massive problems when trying to climb a corkscrew willow. The first was all those branches. You'd think a tree with so many branches would be easy to climb, but they were coiled and tangled together like wooden snakes. You had to squeeze in between the branches, but the gaps could be too narrow. You could get yourself trapped. We'd all heard the story about little Lola Jones from Year 7. Lola had got wedged in Twisted Sister so damn tight that her dad had had to fetch a ladder and a chainsaw. She'd never climbed again. Looking up, I thought New Kid Nottingham had got himself stuck. Not trapped, just at a dead end in the towering maze. But he surprised me. More leaves shook free as he got down flat on his belly, the branch underneath him bending. He slid himself along the branch away from the trunk and squeezed under 2 curling branches that twisted over his head. It looked dangerous. He had to let go with both hands, but he could then reach out to grab the branches higher up. He wriggled and forced himself into the gap. No one had ever tried a move like that on Twisted Sister before. The 5 of us watching below him were impressed, but I pretended not to be.
"He's going to make it,"
Harvey said. He was taking photos with his phone.
"First try."
But, like I said, there were 2 massive problems when trying to climb a corkscrew willow. The second was that they grew fast. Too fast. It meant they didn't always grow strong. The bark would split and the branches could be brittle. New Kid Nottingham had no idea he'd pulled himself onto a brittle branch. He was still on his belly, and the branch below him bent too far. He was looking down at us head first. His cap slipped off as he tried to clamber backwards, but the branch broke. We heard the crack, as loud as a gunshot in a movie. We heard Nottingham's yell as he fell. He tumbled and bounced, branches thwacking him, whapping him. He grabbed at thin air. Bark cracked and leaves exploded. Nottingham yelped and swore and grunted. He came down fast. We jumped backwards away from the tree. Nottingham hit the ground with a thud. The branch he'd snapped came down after him. He rolled to one side and the branch missed him by centimetres. Harvey still had his phone out, and I wondered if he was going to call an ambulance. He took more photos of Nottingham on the ground instead. And Nottingham had been lucky anyway. He didn't need an ambulance. He moved like a creaky robot, but he managed to get to his feet. He was groaning and pulling faces like he'd just been in a fight and lost. To me, he had. He'd been in a fight with Twisted Sister.